Hi, and welcome to the Caterpillar Cross Stitch YouTube channel. My name's Ford from Son of a Stitch. I am joined this week by my supervisor, Nugget the Parakeet, and I got a message on one of my social media accounts a little while ago that said something to the effect of, "Geez, dude, just pick a color already." I assume what they were saying is that they wanted me to make a video about how to pick what color of fabric to use for a project. So that's what we're going to do today. Get ready for a floss toss. Now the reason it's called a floss toss is because basically you just toss the floss that you're going to use onto the fabric that you're thinking of using. So if I was thinking of making a project using these colors on the fabric that I dyed last week in my ice dyeing tutorial, then all I would really do is I'd take those colors and I'd throw the floss on there and I'd see how well they stand out. Now the thing that you really want to pay particular attention to is any color that's used to edge something. So if it's got a backstitch line around it, or if it's got a border around it that's in a particular color, you want to make extra sure that that color contrasts really well with the fabric. So most of these colors stand out pretty nicely, but if I had a lot of, say, vines or leaves that were in this green, I might not want to use them because they don't really stand out particularly well. Likewise, actually, really with this blue one, because the colors blend a little bit together, so I wouldn't have enough visual contrast to really have this stand out as a major design element. So things that are in the middle of a section, or that don't touch the fabric, or that don't touch an open, unstitched area of fabric, those are not quite so crucial. The ones that you really want to pay attention to are ones that are standing alone. So you'll have to look at your pattern a little bit to determine which of those is most important. What's that? Oh, Nugget wants me to remind you to join the VIP Stitch Club at caterpillarcrossstitch.com. When you join, you'll get 10% off your first order, you'll get a digital download of our top 10 cross-stitching tips, and you'll get an ebook with 8 free PDF cross-stitch patterns in it. So hit that link down there in the description to make sure you get those perks. And what a lot of people will do is take, if they have a couple of different ideas of what fabric to use, then they'll just take their colors and they'll lay them across them and look at them and see how well they sort of contrast on average. So if purple were a fairly minor component of this project, I might consider using the pink one instead because these all stand out. But they also complement it really nicely as well. They don't clash with it. And I would have to take into consideration what the kind of theme and what the mood of the project I was using was. So these colors would actually all look really, really beautiful on a more muted or natural color. Like for instance, if I were to use an undyed linen like this, all of the colors stand out really, really beautifully. But if I want something a little more warm or a little more vernal or a little more vibrant, then I might want to think about something a little bit different. And for instance, I could use this blue if the blue color were not a particularly major standalone component of the project. If you found my videos helpful, or if you've learned up something from any of my videos, or even if I've just made you chuckle a little bit at some point, what I would really love you to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel. And if there's something you'd like to see me cover at some point, put that in the comments and I'll add it to my list of future videos. And the last tip that I want to share with you is something that I learned from my time in a camera shop. And that is that with large blocks of color, if the hue or color value is different enough, then it can be a lot easier to differentiate than if it's a little bit smaller. So colors that have different hue values, what color they are, but have similar tone values, how dark they are, will still sometimes blend together and be a little bit hard to pick out. So what I want to do there is I want to actually check objectively the tonal value of my colors. And that can be a little bit difficult to do with the naked eye. So a trick that I have is to just take a picture of the candidates that you have for what color of floss and fabric to use and convert that picture to black and white. You can just use the camera or picture setting in your phone usually to take a look at that. And if you look at them in black and white, I'm going to convert this image right now. And the colors are hard to tell apart, then they may actually be difficult to tell apart in the project, even though the colors really stand out with one another, especially if you have kind of more minute details that are surrounded by unstitched fabric. So that's something that you want to take into account, and that is my favorite trick for making sure that I get really good contrast between my floss and my fabric. Unless they are on opposite sides of the color wheel, like say purple to green or red to green, if you don't have enough contrast in the tone, they're actually still going to blend together a little bit when you stitch them. So that's another thing that you can check that can really help save you some heartache later of your colors blending together into your fabric. If you're struggling to make a decision, sometimes it can be super nice to have someone that you can ask. And that's where a supportive community of stitchers really comes in. I would recommend following the Caterpillar Cross Stitch Instagram and join the Caterpillar Cross Stitch Facebook group. There's tens of thousands of stitchers who can help. Nugget's always there to offer advice too. So those are my favorite tricks for making sure that my project stands out from my fabric. Do you have other tricks that you use? Share those with the other viewers in the comments below. I do want to thank you so much for watching. For Caterpillar Cross Stitch, my name is Ford, and I will see you next time.